and welcome back into Tobacco Road and Abroad. My name's Gareth, joined by Aiden here. And today we've got some stuff on our plate. We've got obviously the NFL draft coming up on Thursday. Hopefully this episode will be out by then. Some NHL, NBA, and NBA playoffs, and then maybe some college baseball, and then maybe some other stuff sprinkled in, depending on what we get to. So, NFL draft on Thursday. Have there been any headlines you kind of want to go over first, or is there anything else you want to jump into when it comes to this? Is there particular players, storylines?
Storylines? Well, I don't think he's the number one overall pick, but every draft you got to talk about like what the Heisman's doing and where we think he might go. Travis Hunter, historic year last year, being able to play both sides of the ball, an absolute force to be reckoned with. Some people say he's just good at both positions and really isn't like all that special. But you got to respect like the sheer athleticism he has, and I do believe any team that drafts him is going to be able to utilize him to his fullest. But I don't know if they're going to be using him clearly on both sides of the ball, just because that's a lot of toll on a player, and there's there's just so much like room for error if you're playing receiver and corner. ESPN has him as a cornerback, so he might be mainly corner focused and then maybe thrown into a few wide receiver packages. But that all depends on where he's going to go. And when looking at the draft, like mock drafts, a lot of people have him at going at number two. I would probably say his ceiling is number two. If I had to say he would like plummet at all, I could see him maybe going to uh, the Patriots or like the Giants. Like he's a very small window, and he's definitely a lock for like a top five pick. Uh, just looking at like the first five teams in order, we have the Tennessee Titans, the Cleveland Browns, the New York Giants, New England Patriots, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Uh, all those teams like could use somebody like Travis in their own different ways. Tennessee has been indicating that they are looking more like quarterback route, so they're like a lot of people have Cam Ward at number one. I don't think that's like necessarily the smartest move because I don't believe that Travis Hunter or Cam Ward are the best overall players in the draft. That one has to go to Abdul Carter, in my opinion. Absolute dominant
Absolutely.
edge rusher. I feel like just he has like the highest potential in the draft and the highest floor even. I do see him being a day one playmaker and being able to contribute to any team that he's on right now. Um, but Tennessee has been kind of indicating that they need a QB. Will Levis has not been successful with the Titans, and Tennessee really hasn't been making any moves for quarterback. So we assume that their first move is going to be going for Cam Ward. That's what all the mock drafts are having right now. Uh, but as it pertains to Travis Hunter, he could go Tennessee if Tennessee's feeling bold. A lot of people have him going to the Browns. Uh, it just all really depends on how the Browns and the Giants decide to like approach this draft. Browns really don't need an edge rusher. So I don't see Abdul Carter going there. So him landing at the Giants makes the most sense in my opinion. But could see Travis Hunter potentially like if draft antics happen, draft day is unpredictable. If something blows up and Travis Hunter falls for whatever reason, which I find to be unlikely, but you never know with like social media and stuff like that. I could see him like having a place in the Giants if it came to that. Patriots would definitely be able to use him. I think Jacksonville, with needs on like offense, could utilize his offensive playing ability. But I don't see that happening. I see it all him going to Cleveland, kind of as a sure thing right now. But I just think I think he's the most interesting player in the draft just because like the sheer anomaly of his existence, really. Going into like other like storylines that I want to kind of bring up right now. Uh, Ashton Genty. I like him a lot. Great runner. A lot of people are probably going to question like him coming from Boise State, but he's a very proven runner. Uh, I'm just interested to see how he's going to translate to the pro level. Like there's going to be a giant jump in like skill that he's going up against, but he's been proven to be very efficient even when going up against higher level competition. A lot of people have him going to the Las Vegas Raiders, I believe. Some people have him going there. I think Genty has a very like strong case to be made. Very uh, solid player. I could see him going um, Vegas. Um, if it comes down to it, do you think that would you take Ashton Genty if he was available? If you're the Panthers,
Um,
I mean, our needs are on
no,
defense.
no, and that's not because of that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one for me. Give me a second to think about this. Panthers free agents. As of right now, our uh as of right now, our running back room's a little full.
Yeah.
Um, we have you know the big names. Let me pull up the Panthers depth. Obviously, Chuba Hubbard. Um, Jonathan Brooks is also in there.
Are they Ashton Genty level though? Because like I feel like Ashton Genty's like ceiling is he could be like a top like running back in the league. Like
I feel like he could too. Like I definitely agree with that. It's just with how bad our other needs are. Like, is it worth it to like with how bad the defense is it worth passing up people like Xavier Watts, Makeel Williams, James
yeah,
Pierce, Pete, that type? Like,
yeah,
because we also picked up Rico Dowdle from the Cowboys, and obviously I don't think he's Ashton Genty level, but I feel like, hey, stop. I just feel like in the NFL, like unless you're like the Kansas City Chiefs or like a consistent top good team where you have like lots and loads of money and like stuff for contracts. And I know there's obviously salary cap, but like the teams that, win the Super Bowl and they're not dynasties, they kind of have to sacrifice in one area.
yeah,
Like I feel like, and I'm not saying we're sacrificing by not taking it, but like there's areas of the ball where we're going to be stronger. We can't be just this juggernaut of a team out of nowhere. I mean,
yeah.
look at how the Lions built up. They built up their line.
Hmm.
Then what they do? They built up their line in defense. And what they do? They got Goff some targets.
Hmm.
Now I'm assuming in this offseason they're going to patch up whatever holes they found this season.
Hmm.
And it's going to be a process. Like it's
Yeah,
going to be a process. So I wouldn't take Genty. I would love to have him. I'm not saying I wouldn't take him if we could. Like if there is a way for us to get what we needed on defense and take Genty, I absolutely would.
yeah,
Like I would do that in a heartbeat. But
absolutely.
with just what we need, stop. With what we need, that's just not. It's not. And I'm not saying he's not worth it. I'm just saying with the holes it would leave in, I'm just in what we need. It would cost too much for what we need. Like that's
Yeah,
it's like going. It's like say, you know, like we're a family saving up. It's like going out to a really nice steak dinner for a non-occasion.
Mm,
Like it would be awesome. It would be nice, but we're already going out to the Angus barn for someone's birthday next month. Like that
yeah,
type of stuff.
yeah. What do you think your like draft strategy is overall? Because you see, like for me, I know like this is a more like controversial take of mine. I always kind of default to taking the best player available, regardless of position, uh, rather than like adjusting for your needs. And I think that's well, that wouldn't matter for the Panthers because I believe like the best players, like the strongest group in this class, I believe is the edge rushers. This is a very like strong um, edge class, and like ESPN has the like top four edge rushers all over like a 90 grade. This is a really, really strong edge rushing class. Obviously, you have Abdul Carter from Penn State, absolute just unit. But then you got like Williams, James Pierce Jr., Mike Green. Like these are all solid options, and I think they have the case to be made for being in respect to their position, almost maybe like on the level of Genty when it comes to like running back, in my opinion. Just because like McKeel Williams, very solid standout from Georgia. Um, he's I like his size at 6'5", 265. Really, really impressive on the tape, in my opinion. Um, just looking at some stats of like his past time at Georgia on the season in 2024, had 21 total tackles, 15 solo, sack, got 5 sacks on the year, which was his career high, and 2 forced fumbles. Uh, Very solid standout, in my opinion. Uh, Mike Green is kind of a little bit of a wild card, obviously coming from Marshall, but just looking at his stats, first year at UVA just wasn't great, but then he really found his stride at Marshall. 2024 average, well, he got 81 total tackles, 38 solo tackles, sacked the quarterback 17 times, 3 forced fumbles. Granted, you have to take into account like he's competing in the Sun Belt, but he was very like solid in his role at Marshall. So I think we should be looking into maybe Mike Green as well. I just really like this edge class this year, and I just wanted to ask you, what do you think the Panthers' strategy should be going into round one?
For me, it's definitely got to be on the defensive end. Like this wide receiver class, I know wide receiver is one of our needs, and with Bryce Young, we've got decent tight ends. Like they're okay, but we also need to get Bryce Young some more targets. I think with how not as like with a lot of the stars being in other position groups, I think we're okay waiting on a skill position like a wide receiver. I think now I guess you could call this like an old head. I'm very much like get your team needs and like the not and now I will say there's a little bit of like it depends on how good the person is. Like I like personally like say we needed like a star-studded like say we needed a quarterback and an offensive lineman. Like
Hmm.
first round, I'd take the lineman just because, and in my opinion, and just from what I've seen, the overall just the offense runs better when it's say a mediocre quarterback with an amazing line versus a good quarterback with a shit line. Like I feel like a good line can take a mediocre quarterback and make him look good. it can take a good quarterback and make him look great. And then it can make great quarterbacks like absolutely unstoppable. Like I
Hmm.
feel like lines can really make or break. And we saw this year with the Panthers when the line held up. Booster seat Bryce was wheeling and dealing.
Indeed.
Booster seat Bryce was wheeling and dealing. So for me, right here, I think we've got with how many teams are going to be scrambling to get an edge rusher. And I will say that you could have two arguments here because there's so much edge talent we could afford waiting. But I think this is where I dip into your strategy a little bit. I think we've got to capitalize on being able to get the best of the best when it comes to edge rushing because the
Hmm.
defense was just absolutely not there.
Yeah.
Like we'd sometimes get pressure to the quarterback, but the thing is, a lot of times we didn't get good pressure, and that would leave our already tattered secondary to the Wolves and pretty much just let the opposing quarterback just pick us apart. So for me, I think we need to take the best available edge rusher. I doubt that's going to be Abdul Carter. That's likely going to end up being McKeel Williams, James Pierce Jr., Mike Green. Another one I'd honestly take. A lot of these guys are really good, like just through and through. Like even down like a lot further than you draft in other positions. I feel like there's some really solid options. Like Jordan Birch, he's the eighth ranked edge. I'd still take him. He had 8.5 sacks this year, and he only played in 10 games. Um, he had 11 TFLs on top of that. And he's strong, but he's also incredibly quick. Like he's really good at knocking offensive linemen off the ball and just gaining like the upper hand, gaining traction, and just being able to move them. And he's
Yeah, and he's a very intimidating 295, like almost 300 pounds. I don't see an ounce of fat on him like at all, really. Like just like Jordan Burks, I do like him a lot.
I feel like that's a
Going
good backup option for us if we don't get the big names.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this edge class is like filled with like I feel like future like just big names right now. Like a lot of upside from this. Going into like other Panthers team needs, I think we saw uh, safety has been a bit of a concern for us. ESPN doesn't have like the safety class being ranked as high as the edge class, but still some very solid names. Nick Imanowari, believe I'm saying that right, correct? Um,
That's how I would have attempted it.
yeah, very solid as a safety this past year, getting 4 picks in 2024. One stat that like I feel like it's a little bit overblown for the safety class is just the total tackles. Just because like if you're a safety and a cornerback, like that they like this was what Dion was talking about before when he was talking about Travis Hunter, like saying that oh Travis Hunter didn't like have like the most tackles and he's not an effective like deep man or an effective defender. I mean, if your secondary and like your deep like defense is like producing the most tackles on your team, you have a problem right now. That means like the ball's getting like past your linebackers, your defensive ends, your edge rushers, and your like balls are like being passed like substantially down the field, and only your safeties and your quarterbacks are able to drag the guy down. Like that's the stat that I feel like is a little bit overrated. Uh, but as it pertains to Nick this past season, 88 total tackles, 57 solo tackles with 31 assisted tackles. I think I think that's maybe what's contributing a little bit to this so far. I'd say weaker safety class, but still a lot of good names. Obviously, like I'm a little bit of a Notre Dame homer, but Xavier Watts, six INTs over the past season with nine pass deflections. He was like always. I always remembered him like being pretty solid. I like him a lot. I'd like to see where he ends up eventually. Um,
He's who
looking
I
at
want for the Panthers.
yeah, if he's I ESPN has him ranked 70 overall in the draft. I could see him definitely like being a second or third round pickup for us if he's like on the board and we can like get him at a good deal. Like I would like to see him on the Panthers.
And we have a lot of picks in kind of the middle of the draft. We've got one pick in the first, second, third rounds, but then we've got two fourths and three fifth rounders as well. And I know like, those aren't always gonna be the big names, but I feel like fourth and fifth rounders can be kind of like your meat and potatoes guys when it comes down to it. Like 4 or 5 years in the future, guys that you can really develop. That maybe they don't have necessarily the top end talent, but they've got like the work ethic and they've got like the IQ to get it done.
Hmm.
So I feel like
Hmm.
that's our opportunity to like load up on like Moneyball. It's kind of the cliche way to say it with these people. Like those are five picks that I think obviously one, two, and three are just absolutely important as they are in any draft. But I feel like what's really gonna be our make or break picks is those five picks, not the seventh round, but those five picks towards the latter half. Our fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth pick are those are gonna be like our really big ones for us. Like I feel like we don't have to like it's not like our one, two, three where we have to get those right, but we're gonna need to get some solid people in those picks just because we have so many of them and just we have a lot of holes. And I feel like not only we can use this as an opportunity to not only just build up our strengthened areas, like our areas that are already really good, and like start thinking about the future, but also trying to the areas that we're trying to patch up, just having an extra person there in case the guy we get for that patch just doesn't work out. Like I
Hmm.
wouldn't be opposed to taking an edge in the first round and then taking an edge that's maybe slipped on notice for our third, fifth round pick or like a
Yeah.
fourth round pick, just in case, injuries happen. Like those boys in the line, that's just all day. Like
Yeah.
I'd like to have someone in case, one's a bust or like, just kind of like an insurance policy, particularly in these areas we really struggle with.
Hmm.
So that's just my take. Obviously, I'd like to see us go a little bit more defensive heavy here.
Hmm.
Yes, I think one of our nine picks needs to be a receiver, and it doesn't need to be the seventh round pick. Like, don't get me wrong, but I'd like to see a lot more focus on the defensive end because
Yeah.
I feel like if we figure out the defensive end, the offensive end will kind of figure itself out.
Definitely.
What about like I know you said the best available, like our when it comes to wide receivers, I this is the one we didn't talk about. When it comes to wide receivers, I know the class isn't really particularly that strong as you and I talked before we went on air, but are there any people that you'd like to see the Panther snag? I know there's a few I'd like to see, but just
Hmm.
obviously I know this there's not as many star-studded people here in the draft class, but I just want to let you know what you think about.
I mean, like I'm taking into a like account like there's going to be a lot of people going off the board, and let's see. Mm, one player that like he's ranked fourth in the wide receiver class. He's overall ranked 40, grade 87. I like Amika Egbuka. Abuka.
Yeah,
Uh,
Abuka.
yeah, I've been liking him a lot. 10 touchdowns in the 2024 season. Uh, I like him a lot. Got over 1,000 yards in passing yards this past season. I think I like him a lot. Just looking kind of at his draft statistics, if I could bring it up. Um, he's really good at like kind of beating the zone looks. Uh, he's going to be like a pretty decent, like decently sized target, standing at like 6'1", and I like his speed. So uh, he's kind of like got really good route running that I liked a lot, and very proficient in the past season with Ohio State winning the national championship. So I kind of gotta give it to him. I don't know if he'll be on the board for the Panthers, but if I could like maybe find another receiver that who do I think will still be on the board? Uh, I mean, we talked about it before on air, like how he kind of fell a little bit, but like I don't know, he has like decent like draft statistics running a 4.39 40 yards dash. Uh, Isaiah Bond kind of had a little bit of a falling out year with Texas, like definitely kind of hurt his draft stock. Not the most impressive 2024 season. I know a lot of people were like hyping on him as being a transfer guy. Only catching 5 touchdowns, 540 yards. I don't know. I like his speed a lot. I think there's definitely room for improvement. There's some things you can't like adjust, like his size and stuff like that. But I think he'd be worth kind of taking a look into. Uh, let's see. Um, hmm. A lot of these players like just kind of got like rattled with injuries and stuff. But if I had to say like maybe another player that could like pull some surprises, let's talk about Horton from Colorado State. Had a really proficient 2022 and 2023 season with 8 touchdowns in both of those, catching over 1,000 yards in both of those seasons. Unfortunately, it was injured from the majority of 2024, only having 1 touchdown and 353 yards receiving. If like fell into like the right team, I think that people could use him. I think a lot of people could be like kind of sleeping on him, you know. I feel like he kind of like fits the profile of just like a guy that's kind of been falling under the radar a little bit. Ran a 4.4 40. He has like the ability to break tackles and has like pretty decent size, standing at 6'3", almost 200 pounds. He's a pretty big receiver, so I'd keep my eye on him. I don't know, something about him. Like I'm kind of saying like maybe a good maybe a guy to keep your eye on. I don't know, but I'm just looking at like the guys deeper into the receiver class because I feel like that's when like Carolina might be selecting receiver. Nobody like I'm really seeing that's like ooh, absolute standout that Carolina needs to get right now. I mean, if you want to talk about guys that can like definitely go right now, I mean, Abuka, like I did talk about him, Matthew Golden, uh, really solid 2024 season with 9 touchdowns, almost 1,000 yards receiving. He's, I feel like, going to go pretty high and make some big noise. The number one guy, according to ESPN, is Tetor Oria McMillan from Arizona. Absolute unit. 6'4", 220 pounds in a the 2024 season, caught had 1,300 receiving yards. Very proficient. I like obviously Arizona wasn't like the best this past year, but he was a bright spot on their offense and really did do numbers for them. I see him going pretty high in the draft, so I don't think Carolina would make a move for him, but I think he's definitely somebody to keep an eye out for.
When it pertains to the Panthers and who I think is going to end up falling to us, I've got three solid picks that I think honestly could be pretty good for us. Um, the first is Ty Felton, 6'1", 183, pretty fast. All of his jumps at the combine, vertical, long jump, were outstanding. They were in like the top 5% of the receivers in the class. He's more of a vertical threat, and he's like that guy where he's your X. He takes the top off and distracts the safety while you hit up other guys, but you can also hit him over the top. Like he has been known to absolutely just blow by the safety help as well, just with no regard, and take shots over the top. So he's another one where he could add like, an explosive element to our offense that's really kind of been lacking. Other guys, more of a meat and potatoes type of receiver, where his speed, his 40-yard dash wasn't great, and he's not, the fastest guy out there, but he's really good at making guys miss. He's your stereotypical slot guy in the NFL, not necessarily terribly tall, but he's tough. He can take a hit. He's got great hands. It'll be Xavier Restrepo out of Miami. He's 5'10", 209, 85 catches this season. He's the first Miami receiver to have back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons. What else did he have? Um, he also rushed, or that's in high school, but he also in high school they also kind of used him as like a Swiss Army knife, and he had over 2,500 yards rushing. But with that speed and with how fast the NFL is, I don't see them making use of that like this article suggests they will. But he's good at staying on his feet after getting hit. He's good at making guys miss. He's a really good slot guy, and I know. And now I watched something the other day where it's like back in the day, for a receiver, you had your set positions. You were the outside guy. You were the slot guy. But today, you kind of shifted everywhere. But he also has the ability to play outside and get solid possession style catches on the outside. One final guy I would like to touch on, who he could kind of go under the radar, but it really kind of depends, is Luther Burden, the third out of Missouri. He averages
Hmm.
he's a really good open field runner from what I've seen. He's incredibly fast. He averaged 12 and a half yards a carry. He's also another deep threat. Doesn't drop many passes. I know there's been concerns about his hand size, but if you look at his catches and the amount of drops he's had, like there's not a lot. Like the amount of drops he has is about the same as like other people with this in his like kind of style of wide receiver position. So not something I'd be too terribly worried about with him. He's another person where I'd be completely happy if he fell to the Panthers. Just someone with some speed that can add an extra explosive element like him or Ty Felton, or even just someone just sure-handed like Restrepo. Just add that another level of confidence and just kind of meat and potatoes, get it done to that Carolina. So that's all I've got for the Panthers. Um, are there any other narratives you'd like to address before we move on? I have one or two
What do
that
you want to bring up?
I know there's one. We talked about Quinn Ewers and
Hmm.
like him going to the draft versus the transfer portal. Do we want to talk about that, or is it kind of all been said with that?
I don't know. Like I go back and forth, like thinking about Quinn Ewers. I mean, like the fall off is kind of crazy. I mean, number seven QB in this draft. He's behind Will Howard, Jalen Milrow. Um, if you told me like a year ago that the Quinn Ewers fall off would be like this severe, I would like think you were like smoking crack or something like that. But
Exactly. Yeah.
ESPN has him at a 111th overall like ranking. just as overall players. Uh, do I think like I think Ewers was like number one, like a product of a not the most ideal situation. You're in front of Arch Manning, and like that is a situation I wouldn't want to be in like that much, especially when with like the fan base like just getting to you and probably getting to you saying like, oh, we want Arch, at like the slightest like mishap or something like that. I liked it, Quinn Ewers' toughness. Do I wish he probably came back for another year, maybe hopped in the transfer portal? Yeah, but I don't think this is going to be the end of us seeing Quinn Ewers. I mean, we still have to remember he had a very solid 2024 season. Like, just statistically speaking, 31 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Like, obviously, yes, his interceptions went up. 2023, he only had six. He doubled the amount of interceptions he had, but he also made like more plays, like more touchdowns. I I think maybe like Quinn Ewers is just a product of a lot of like social media hoopla. Like there's a lot of things like that get overblown, and when your backup is Arch Manning, I think things are going to be a little bit over exaggerated than what they really are. Do I think he's like the seventh best quarterback in this draft? Honestly, no. Like I think I don't know. This quarterback class is weird. I'm just going to have to see. Really, I'm going to have to see how they play out this coming year because I have questions for just about everyone. I have questions for Cam Ward. I mean, granted, Cam Ward is probably the most sound quarterback overall. Like, I always making plays at Miami. Like, anytime Miami was on, I was like tuned in just because I liked seeing Cam Ward play. Like he was an elite passer and really proficient, but like for some reason I just still have questions about him. And maybe that's just it's a little bit unfair for me to be like saying that because 39 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, like numbers don't lie. Like he's proficient, but like I don't know. I just have a bad gut feeling about like all these quarterbacks. Like nothing's like really screaming generational to me. Cam Ward doesn't scream generational. Shadur Sanders doesn't scream generational. Jackson Dart, I don't know why he's number three. Really doesn't scream generational for me. There's I don't expect the rookie of the year to be a quarterback this year. I'll put it at that.
Tyler Shuck. I'm kidding. I'm not going to go there. But one player I want to talk about, a lot of people are like, he works hard. I wish he could work out in the NFL, but it's not likely. He's the guy. He worked hard. He slugged it out at like a subpar program for a few years. Gave that program probably their best year in years, and then hit the portal and went to Notre Dame. But I'm
Ooh.
here to tell you, Riley Leonard has a place in the NFL. And people are going to say I'm crazy, and it's not for what you think it is. I think here's how I think it's going to go. I'm not saying this is 100%. I'm not saying I'm a genius. For me, this is how I think Riley Leonard's career is going to go. He's going to be undrafted or
Mhm.
drafted late round. And he's going to end up being kind of like a gadget, almost like Swiss Army knife, like just general slot back type player. They're going to beef him up a little bit. And he's just going to kind of be like wildcat quarterback, certain packages, like goal line quarterback almost. Like, we need to get a yard. Say your quarterback's like scrawny, like a Shador Sanders or a Jackson Dart, and you need a yard. It's 4th and 1. And, the benefits of having a running quarterback is It's 11 on 11 football. When you hand the ball off with a quarterback, you're playing 10 on 11. But when you have a guy like Riley Leonard, you can play 11 on 11.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, don't put him like shotgun level back. Put him like 3 steps behind the line in a pistol, flank him with 2 fullbacks, and just have him follow them fat boys. Have him follow them fucking fullbacks and hit the damn hole. Or even better, like I said, Taysom Hill. Put him in the slot. Like, run some tricky stuff with him. He's not scrawny by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not like massive, massive, and he already can run people over. And he's just all around athletic, and he's got the work ethic to do it. I think he could really, realistically be a Taysom Hill type player. He could be that Swiss Army knife.
I go
I'm
back
not
and
kidding.
forth. I go
I'm
back and
not
forth
saying
with that.
he's ever going to be I'm not saying he's ever going to be like a starting quarterback. Like I
Yeah,
could
no.
see, hey, worst case scenario, like when it comes to quarterback from worst case scenario, he's the Swiss Army knife guy, and your quarterback goes down in the playoffs. Who are you going to turn to? Probably Riley Leonard. You're probably going to turn it over to kind of like how the Saints did with Taysom Hill. But for me, that's what I think best case scenario for Riley Leonard is. He's going to be like a free agent, late round pickup. He's just going to be kind of a gadget player, your short yardage guy who, if they're just going to stack the line and they start stopping him, what do you run? You run a jump pass with him. You run a jump pass. And, I'm just saying, you could say I'm being overly optimistic here, but, this will be my hot take for the draft and this NFL season. I think at some point Riley Leonard's going to find his place as this kind of gadget style player. I know I've said that 2 or 3 times, but I just want to reiterate, like, do I think he's going to be a starter? No. I am not saying he's like Cam Ward level, but I'm saying there's in today's NFL, with how obsessed with X's and O's people are, he's going to find a place with some coach. That's all I'll say on that. Anything else you want to add for the draft?
Let it be known that Brady Cook is ranked right under Tyler Elgersma, who's the Canadian quarterback we talked about uh, earlier this year.
I forgot about that.
Hang on, let me fact check to make sure.
Let's check the Carfax.
Yep. In the words of Zuko, that's rough, buddy.
That's rough, buddy.
That's rough, buddy. Brady Cook doesn't even have a ESPN draft summary.
Hey, all I will say is that dude's tough as nails. If you
Yeah,
can get taken to the hospital and come back and win the game after coming back from the hospital, you're tough as fucking nails. I'm sorry. He may not be a starting quarterback, but for me, there are quarterbacks that I've just gotten like this, you know, they may make bad decisions, but I never say they're a bad quarterback. They just have that it factor. They're like, they're the guy you go to on 4th down.
yep.
I'm just saying. For me, Brady Cook is in there. Riley Leonard. And I think you know where I'm going with number 3 here. Army quarterback Bryson Daly.
He's not even in the draft.
I know. I'm just saying, I think he should have gotten the dispensation that Keenan Reynolds got. Now, granted, can Keenan Reynolds sling the rock a little better than Bryson Daly? Yeah, I'll give him that. I'll give him that. I'm not saying he's in the draft, but I'm just saying those are guys where you're going to get their all no matter what. They may have 4 picks, but they went down fucking swinging. They went down swinging, like they just went down in a cloud of dust. Like it doesn't matter. They're gonna go down kicking and scratching and biting. So that's all I'll say about him. I won't tolerate the Brady Cook slam. Like
I'm not going to tolerate you slandering Taylor Alguersama. Man,
the Canadian.
Canadian legend. I saw him in the Pro Bowl for like 2 plays.
Oh, they let him. I forgot they let him play in the Senior Bowl. I forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Did they at least let him throw the ball, or were they just like, you can hand it off?
Yeah, I think I saw him do like one shallow pass.
One shallow pass. Here, buddy, don't
AI
mess this up.
enhanced summary says Taylor, a standout quarterback from Wilfred Laurier, is gaining attention ahead of the NFL draft with impressive workouts. His recent visit to Lambeau Field for workouts with the Green Bay Packers has highlighted a potential promising NFL prospect.
Yeah,
We need to get him on the pod.
we need to get him on the pod. I agree.
I'm sorry. I find it cool that there is a Canadian quarterback in the NFL draft. Like I know there's been like Canadian like people from Canada that have played college football in America, but like I don't know. It's a it's a
I'm
fun
rooting
little
for the guy.
it's a fun blueberry fact.
I'm rooting for the guy. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm rooting for the guy. Like I want him to do well. I'd love to have a Canadian quarterback in the NFL.
I want him to do well. Hell, I'll even watch him in the XFL or the UFL now if he were to go there next year.
Sounds good. Anything else you want to touch on with the draft, or
No,
should we head to the fun the fun that
let's
went down today in the NHL playoffs, or do you want to go to NBA?
let's let's start with the NHL. So first off, with the NHL, we haven't even really given our predictions of what we think might happen uh, in the NHL playoffs. We have the stage set so far. In the Western Conference, we have the Winnipeg Jets versus the St. Louis Blues, the Dallas Stars versus the Colorado Avalanche, the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Minnesota Wild, and the LA Kings versus the Edmonton Oilers. In the Eastern Conference, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Ottawa Senators, the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Florida Panthers, uh, the Capitals versus the Montreal Canadiens, and lastly, and certainly not least, the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New Jersey Devils. Starting off the playoffs, we had so far the Carolina Hurricanes start off with a 2-0 lead in this series against the New Jersey Devils. Gareth, do you want to give a little breakdown of what's been going on these past two games?
Yeah, first game Easter Sunday. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I talked to some people who went to the game. Talked to some people who got a chance to watch, and it was just kind of the Devils came out really flat-footed, and the Hurricanes came out just the Hurricanes incredibly physical. They said it looked like a war zone, like there were Devils players getting hurt left and right. Not that there was like cheap shots or anything. It was just like they just weren't ready. Because for those of you who don't know, Luke Hughes, who was like the star defensive player for the Devils, was out with an injury. It was just kind of a physical game, and Carolina just jumped out on them. And for those of you who know, Carolina is one of those teams where if you turn it off for even a second, like the Hurricanes can score 2, 3 goals just like that. I mean, it even happened tonight against the Devils. Like the Devils, they came out, they looked like the better team tonight, but then all of a sudden there was a lapse for like 3.5 minutes, and the Hurricanes scored 3 goals. Now, one of them got called back. Like the Hurricanes scored like this. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just that easy. The Hurricanes are a team you can't switch off against. And I see a lot of people talk about the Hurricanes' offense is simple. It's like what are people doing simple? That doesn't mean it's easy to stop. Like the game plan's simple, but with how physical the Hurricanes play and the fact that they're at 110 all the time, it just makes it that hard to stop. And just their conditioning's that good, and they're able to run at 100 miles an hour constantly. And that's kind of what's happened is, and the Hurricanes are usually the team they lead the NHL in shots on goal. Like that's the name of the game. It's like it's for the Hurricanes. It's purely numbers. It's we're going to win by putting more shots on goal because by putting more shots on goal, statistically speaking, your goalie's most likely going to let up even more.
Mhm.
And we are one of the highest scoring teams in the NHL. Like, on top of being the best penalty kill unit there is. So, but in spite of that, the Devils actually had a decent a bit more shots than the Hurricanes today. But a lot of that came just due to the fact that the Hurricanes came out really flat in the first period. We were down 1-0. We didn't really look inspiring. We didn't really look like the Carolina Hurricanes team we know and love until the second period. Like last 5 minutes of the first, things really started to turn around for the in game two. But they turned around in a big way. It's the shots started falling. It started off with Godesberg. He scored off his own rebound off the goalie. Then Jordan Martinook scored a beautiful shorthanded goal. And then obviously Seth Jarvis rounded out with an empty netter as time expired. For me, the big star of these first two games has been Freddie Anderson,
Mhm.
our goalkeeper. Freddie Anderson spent a decent amount of this year hurt, and going into the playoffs had only had played about 15 to 16 games because of the injury he endured. I forget what it was, but over the today he had 25 saves on 26 shots. Like dude was phenomenal, and several of those were like point blank range. There was one where he was falling on his back. The Devils forward had a wide open like Aiden. There was more goal open than there wasn't, and somehow Freddie Anderson got in the way and stopped it. This man was flat on his fucking back, and he got in the way, and that happened pretty much the entire second and third period. Dude was just everywhere.
Mhm.
He got scored on an unfortunate deflection in the first period, but that's hockey. That's how you get past these good goalies is by generating deflections and causing them to spill the puck. But Freddie Anderson, amazing job. Gostosphere, obviously, nice goal today. Jordan Martinook with a goal and an assist looked great. One player that I was hoping to have a bigger impact today that didn't, but honestly, after how well he played last game, I didn't really expect him to have that big of an impact. Is Logan Stankoven. He had 2 goals and an assist on Easter Sunday's game against the Devils. He
Mhm.
was just really dominant. And I'm not saying he didn't play well today. It's just, you know, he was able to step up when the other stars weren't shining. But I think today he didn't play. Like I said, he didn't play bad. He had 2 shots on goal, but he obviously didn't break. Wasn't able to break the deadlock. But that doesn't mean he played bad. That's really all that's kind of happened. I didn't get a chance to really watch it because I was at my girlfriend's family's friend's house, and we were watching the Celtics playoff game. And being a Massachusetts family, I obviously, or them being a Massachusetts family, I obviously wasn't gonna ask them to turn that off to watch the Hurricanes because by the time I checked the score, they were up 3-0, and I'm like, I'm not asking them to check on this game when we're up 3-0. Like I'm fine. I'm fine. So
Next time, one time you're gonna have to you're gonna have to set the dominance that is Carolina Hurricanes up in New England, just because Bruins missed the playoffs, get screwed, Canes on top. But but one thing that I wanted to bring up, it didn't bring it up last podcast, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit out of date now. I was very concerned with the Hurricanes. I'm not going to lie. Some of our worst hockey has been played in the month of March, and some of April. If you just see the losing streak that we were going on, I know it was pretty much we already had the playoff spot guaranteed, but just Red Wings, Bruins, Sabres, Caps, went against the Rangers, Toronto, Canadian, it was just getting it was a little tough near the end of the season, in my opinion, and I was very concerned going into this series, especially with how New Jersey is just one of those teams that's really really sneaky. Granted, they've like had like also like the end of season blues is like what I tend to call it, but like they were also kind of like falling into that. But I was just very concerned with the Hurricanes. But however, these first two games of the playoffs have kind of set my mind at ease. For the rest of the series, like we got to keep our eyes on Zeph Jarvis and Sebastian Aho. Those are our two most elite players. Amazing when they like most proficient, like points scored and goals and assists come from these guys. Like we got to keep. They've mainly been on lock for these first two games, but keep your eyes out for them because I expect they're going to need to step it like really step up, especially with our history of not being successful in the playoffs on road games. These next two games, like obviously, are going to be very important to setting the tone of what this playoff run's going to be like right now. Is this going to be another nitty gritty, uh, like feel it out every single game, lose in a heartbreaking fashion, like of the years of old? Or is this going to be the year that Carolina finally gets it together and goes on a run? Uh, how they perform on the road, I feel like is going to be the key to success for the Hurricanes. Um, in my opinion, like that's just where like our playoff series are won and lost. Canes at home, home ice, almost unstoppable. Electric atmosphere, Raleigh Wood is popping. Canes away, always a different story. And I've just looking at the history of the past couple of years, like if it was pretty much a death sentence if you lose one game at home. It was a death sentence, like it's over, because you would consistently win at home, consistently lose away. You would have the fact that during the regular season you would have home ice advantage for like the majority of the for like first round, maybe the second round if you're lucky. But that's when these runs like really started to affect the team and like injuries started to occur because you're playing consistently 6, 7 game series against teams that took care of business in five, took care of business in four. The math just isn't on your side at that point. So I'm interested to see how these next couple games go for the Hurricanes. Do I expect a sweep? No, but how do I say it? NHL, raise hell, praise Dale, Canes in five.
Gains of five. I agree. The good old gentleman sweep. The 4-1 gentleman sweep. Now, moving on elsewhere, what's the series you want to touch on next? Because some of these series didn't start till today. Like the battle for Florida, like they didn't
Mm-hmm.
start today. There are some series that are that are about to be 3 games in, 2 to 3 games in, starting tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and the Florida series just started. So
Yeah. One series I really wanted to bring attention to, just because of like narratives, I want to talk about Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Ottawa Senators. Toronto has been taking care of business so far, and one thing that like I've kind of been a little bit concerned of for the Maple Leafs is just like getting over the hump. Like memes are memes, and historically speaking, Toronto has just not been proficient in the playoffs whatsoever. And so far, they've been able to take care of business against the Senators. First game, game one, Toronto won 6-2. Absolute dominant performance in all 3 periods, scoring 2 goals in each. The real like when it comes to like standout players of this game for Toronto, I would probably have to say Mitch Marner had 1 goal, 2 assists, and John uh, Tavares with 1 goal, 1 assist. Really proficient game by the Maple Leafs. I think if they get their stuff together, I definitely see them making a solid run this year. Going into other series that I think are going to be like keep an eye on. I want to see how the Cup curse works. So far, the Winnipeg Jets have been handling business when it comes to the St. Louis Blues, but almost had game two was a little close for comfort. Tied for the majority of the game. St. Louis and Winnipeg both had 1 goal in the first period, scoreless in the second period, and Winnipeg was able to get their second goal of the game by Kyle Connor. Um, the Cup Curse is, for those of you who don't know, at the end of the regular season, basically the regular season championship is given the regular season cup, and there's just been meme after meme of usually it's a curse, like first round exit guaranteed almost. And I was interested to see if the curse would affect Winnipeg. Winnipeg has been very proficient so far, and but I will say the St. Louis Blues, if there was a team that was going to give anyone fits, I would say it would be the St. Louis Blues. Just in the month of March, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think they went on a 12 game win streak, taking down really great teams like the Wild, taking down. They took the Predators down. They took down the Avalanche, which I thought was a huge game. They took down the Avalanche twice, and just overall a very proficient team. So they were hitting their strides in the most optimal time to hit your stride. And it's always the four seeds that you really need to look out for, because those are teams with the most to lose. And if there was a team that was going to do it, in my opinion, it's going to be the Blues. If I'm not mistaken, they fired their head coach earlier this season. They looked dead to rights mid-season, but just absolutely hit it off in February, March. That's when they went on their stride. And when you're hitting your stride, it's hard to stop you. I'm interested to see how this series is going to turn out. Obviously, Winnipeg winning the first 2 games, but I'm not counting St. Louis out on this one. Um, that's just another series that I'm keeping my eye on. Gareth, do you want to pick up a couple series? I think we're going to go through everything, but
Yeah. For
just
me,
want to.
one series. This is a team that I feel like is being overlooked because of how their latter half of the second half of the season went due to injuries. So that's for me is the Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota Wild, prior to their injuries, was one of the best teams in the NHL. They, I believe, were actually challenging Winnipeg for first place before the injuries to Eriksson and Kaprizov. Um, Eriksson and Kaprizov are obviously back for the playoffs, and my goodness, what a difference it has made. Um, Game one was a little bit back and forth, and it wasn't quite what the Wild would have wanted. But tonight, oh my lord, their presence was felt. Kaprizov, 2 goals and an assist. Matthew Boldy, goal and assist. Eriksson unfortunately didn't make the score sheet, but Kaprizov and Eriksson are two I feel like are people who kind of go under the radar when it comes to great players in the NHL. Just and I think it's just because they're on a team like Minnesota, and I'm not saying that as kind of bashing Minnesota. I'm just saying I feel like certain teams that aren't the Bruins or the big names that they don't get recognized. Obviously, Matthew Boldy leads the team with 73 points, but Kaprizov has not too shabby with a 56. Eriksson has 29 points, but his contributions manifest other places as well. So for me, I've actually got the Wild taking down the higher seed Golden Knights here. I have the Wild winning 4-3 in this series, and I actually have them going decently far because for me, and just how I've had them, like the research I've done and just how I've heard them talked about, I feel like they could almost go on like a 1983 NC State style run. Like, they were supposed to be good this year. They were good. Their best player got hurt. They went on kind of a slide. They were 10-10-3 without these two players, which that's not terrible because a lot of those were were away spells, and usually you can kind of split your away spells. You're kind of happy with that. The kind of rule of thumb in the NHL is you hold save at home, and then when you're on the road, you kind of split your away thing. So it's like go like 500 in your away trips, and that's what they did for the most part. So, and then now that they have them back, they absolutely embarrassed Vegas at home. I know Vegas kind of made it a game towards the end, but outside of the third period, it was really just kind of all Minnesota. And
Mm-hmm.
not trying to glaze Minnesota over here, but they just outside of an initial push in the first 2 minutes tonight, Minnesota just absolutely jumped all over. And it was just like it was a flurry. Minnesota scored like 3 goals in like a 3.5 minute span. It was they jumped all over them. It looked almost Hurricanes esque with how just chaotic and just all over the place they were. Not in terms of the style of play. There wasn't a lot of like pressing, like so there wasn't a lot of forechecking, which for those who don't know, that's essentially if you were to run the basketball full court press in hockey, that's called forechecking. Um, they don't forecheck like Carolina, but they still play very physical, and they're just kind of all over. They knock you into the boards, they push you around, and so for me, that's why I have Minnesota winning this series. And I'm not saying the Vegas Golden Knights are a bad team. I feel like they're a phenomenal team. I just feel like they're getting Minnesota at the wrong time to get Minnesota right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting their good players back, and they're fired up, and they've just stole one on the road. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
other series I'd like to touch on, the battle for Florida. Um, this was supposedly hotly contested. Battle for Florida. For those who don't know, it's Tampa Bay and the Florida Panthers. Florida Panthers reigning NHL champs right now. The Florida Panthers have been kind of a lot of really good teams kryptonite in the playoffs as of late. They have kind of an okay in game. They have like kind of an okay season. But then in the playoffs, it's kind of like how I talked about the Wild. They just kind of become the team you don't want to play. It's like March Madness. They're like that 12 seed that caught fire in their conference tournament that no one wants to play right now. When it comes to this season, when it came to the battle for Florida, looking at the stats here, um, so battle for Florida, just kind of looking back at their previous matchups. Um, to end the regular season, the Lightning absolutely thrashed the Panthers 5-1. It wasn't close. It was kind of ugly. Um, but throughout the season, they split their series 2-2. Panthers won 4-2 back in December. The next day, the Lightning won 4-0 against the Panthers. Yeah, this is funny. The Panthers won 4-2 at the Lightning. The next day, the Lightning absolutely blanked the Panthers on the road. Panthers then win against the Lightning 2-1 at home, and then the Lightning then blanked the Panthers at home one final time. Then there comes today in the playoffs. And yet again, the Panthers, I'll put these teams in like a category where like they're never out of it because all it takes is one like lax like moment where you blank and they score like 2 goals, 2 to 3 goals in a minute span. They'll be the Panthers, the Wild, and the Hurricanes. That's what happened today in the Panthers. So it was 2-1 at the end of the first period. Tampa Bay came out a little flat-footed. It started with a goal from Sam Bennett, a very nice goal, and then former Carolina Hurricane on a power play. Not much later, not just a few minutes later, Jake Gensel equalized, and then Sam Reinhart scored as time expired in the first period. But still, not a bad way to start. It's a rivalry game. The other team's going to come out hot and try and hit you in the face. You're down 2-1, not the end of the world. But then came the beginning of the second period. Um, So Florida scores, and it becomes 3-1. Um, Florida then commits a penalty not 15 seconds later. Or excuse me, Tampa Bay commits a penalty 15 seconds later. Matthew Tkachuk scores. What does Tampa Bay do? Tampa Bay decides to challenge it because this is a big goal and it appeared to have been it looked like at first glance that there was interference, so they challenged it. Well, sometimes in the NHL, I'm still not clear on this. When you have an incorrect challenge, what is it? Penalty. So Florida then immediately goes back on the power play, and you can see where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Tkachuk scores not 30 seconds later again on the power play to make it 5-1. Then from there, Point scores one, make it 5-2, and then Nick Schmidt scores his second goal of the day to make it 6-2, 5 minutes into the second period. So, not the showing that Tampa Bay wanted. It was kind of like there were 4 or 5 minutes there where they just fell apart, and then it was a kind of a day. It was just that kind of day where when it rains, it pours. It was like at first glance before the replay, it appeared there was interference on a goal. So you challenge it. You're in a rivalry game and you don't want things to get out of hand. But then your challenge doesn't work. That puts them back on the power play, and then as anyone knows, you give one of the Tkachuk brothers a power play, and they will make you pay. It's if you give a mouse cookie. For those of you, if you didn't watch the Four Nations face-off, I know the U.S. lost, but for those of you who did watch it, if you took one thing away from the Four Nations face-off watching the U.S. play, it is you don't mess with the Tkachuk brothers.
Mm-hmm.
They both made their presences known tonight. Obviously, Matthew scoring twice for the Panthers. Ottawa, while they did lose, Ottawa fought back from a 2-goal deficit today with the help of the elder Tkachuk brother, Brady Tkachuk, who helped orchestrate a comeback to send that game to overtime. Not much else to talk about there. Maple Leafs did end up winning in overtime. Third series that I'll mention just because, I think that's the last one outside of Edmonton and the Kings. Caps Montreal. This game was a very similar vibe to the Montreal and to the Maple Leaf Senators one, because it was a game where, I felt for the most part the Capitals had it under control. But then late third period, Cofield and then Suzuki net 2 goals about 5 minutes apart, sent it to overtime. And then for a good portion of the first extra period, it really felt like Montreal was going to get the win. They were hitting shots. They were forcing saves out of excuse me. They were forcing saves left and right. Thompson for the Caps was really just putting in extra shifts. And then finally, Mr. Record Breaker himself finally ticked off the last goal category he didn't have. Overtime winner in the playoffs. Mr. Alex Ovechkin got his playoff overtime winner 3 minutes into overtime. Nice goal, but I will say, little for being the 1 seed in the East, little bit of a shaking look to going to overtime with Montreal in game 1.
Yeah.
Not the best look, but hey, emotions are running high. Ovechkin just broke the record, so I'll let that one slide. I know Washington's one of the Canes' main rivals, but you just broke Wayne Gretzky's record. I'll let that slide.
Yep.
Final series, Edmonton and the Kings. I'm not a big Kings fan, but I will say, when your goalie has Bart Simpson, most goalies, they put really intimidating things on their helmet, or they put homages to their team. One thing that I like about the Hurricanes goalkeeper, Freddie Anderson, being Danish, there's one really famous thing to come out of Denmark. Legos. Freddie Anderson has Legos on his helmet.
Nice.
And I like that. I like when goalies show kind of like their funny side. You know what's on the LA Kings helmet for their goalkeeper? Bart Simpson.
Hmm.
Just Bart Simpson. Just Bart Simpson. I'm not kidding. It's
Yeah.
Bart Simpson in a Kings jersey, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. But those of you who didn't catch this Edmonton Kings game, it was crazy. The Kings had a 5-1 lead at one point, and then all of a sudden it's 5-5 as time expires. Or excuse me, it's 5-5 going into the final minute. Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman orchestrated this massive comeback. Connor McDavid, arguably one of the best forwards in the NHL, leading scorer in the Four Nations face-off for Canada, scored the winning goal against the U.S. in the final. But then it was Denault to break the Oilers' hearts with 12 seconds left in the period, scores the game winner to make it 6-5 and take game one. Edmonton and LA, that's going to be another series I want to keep my eye on, along with the Dallas Stars in Colorado, who split
Yeah.
at home with that's if you want to touch on that series.
I'll touch on that. I'm really high on the Avalanche right now. I know they're just coming off an overtime loss against Dallas, but I gotta say, Nathan McKinnon is absolutely on fire right now. Pretty much uh, like sealed player of the game in game one. This man is just efficiency personified. Colorado takes the first game 5-1, absolute dominant win on the road. Unfortunately, unfortunately for the Avalanche in game two, Dallas came back in the third period. They were just down one goal. Were able to tie it in the third period, and Colin Blackwell got the final goal of the game in overtime, sudden death. Pretty much sealed the game right there. This is a series I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on, just with the sheer proficiency on both ends of the ice. I'm really high on both of these teams, but I got if Colorado can really take advantage of home ice advantage when they go back to Denver, I got Colorado winning this series. Just I like them a lot. Really have kind of put together a pretty solid like last run. I mean, uh, wins sprinkled with losses, losing to the Blues, the Calgary Flames, and the Blues, Canucks, and Kings, but able to get wins against like the Golden Knights, the Blue Jackets, who were making a pretty solid run for the playoffs, but unfortunately fell short. Getting a win against the Kings earlier, the Canadiens, and Senators. Um, I'm really high on Nathan, and I'm high on the Colorado Avalanche. But with that, do you want to get into our predictions for how this playoff is going to turn out?
Absolutely, and I have some hot takes that I don't think people are going to like, but oh well. I don't
Okay.
mean you, I mean just the general public.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, do you want me to just go through my whole bracket real quick, or do you want to go
Go
round
through.
by round?
Go through your whole bracket.
All right, in the East, I've got the Caps taking it over. Caps taking it over the Montreal Canadiens 4-2. I've got the Canes with the gentleman's sweep over the Devils. So that means 4-1 win. I've got Toronto winning 4-2 over Ottawa. I think Ottawa is going to steal the two games at home, but then I think Toronto is going to close out with a win at home and then a win at. Then from there, I've got the Florida Panthers winning 4-3 over Tampa Bay. Um, so that's it for my first round of the East. I'll just go all the way to the finals and then I'll go to the West.
Hmm.
Then second round, I've got the Canes taking down the Caps 4-3-7.
Hmm.
Then from there, I've got Toronto losing to the Florida Panthers in 7, 4-3. And then from there, the Canes finally get their revenge on the Panthers after the Panthers being the bane of their existence in the playoffs for so many years. I've got the Canes beating the Panthers 4-3 in the semifinals. in the West. Sorry, in the semifinals or the Eastern Conference Finals. Then in the West, this is where the hot takes kind of settle in for me.
Yeah.
I've got Winnipeg beating St. Louis 4-2. I've got Colorado winning 4-3 over Dallas.
Hmm.
I've got the Wild going 4-3 over Vegas.
Okay.
Then I've got the Kings 4-2 over Edmonton. Then from there, I've got Winnipeg 4-2 over Colorado. Hold on now. I've now got Minnesota 4-2 over the Kings. Then from there, I've got Minnesota in 7 over Winnipeg, and then I've got Canes over Minnesota 4-2 in the Stanley Cup. I'm really
That's
high on this Minnesota team. I'm after what I've seen and what I saw from them earlier in the season when they had Eriksson and Kaprizov and Boldy all healthy. They're a dangerous team. They're a force to be reckoned with. So
mm, mm.
that's my
Oh,
finals. Canes over Wild 4-2.
alrighty. For the Eastern Conference, I think we pretty much have the same bracket.
We've talked about this.
I got Canes 5-1 over the Devils. I got Caps over the Canadians. I'll take that in 6 games, 4-2. I got I'll take Florida over Tampa Bay. I see that series going 7 actually. Um, and then I have Toronto beating the Senators in 6. Then after that, I have the Panthers beating the Leafs in 7. I have the Canes beating the Caps in 6. And then I have the Canes beating the Panthers in 7. Canes move on to the championship. Western Conference, I have you see, like a little bit earlier, like if we recorded this earlier, I would have said Blues over Jets, but I think Winnipeg's just been too solid so far. So I'm gonna rewrite my original bracket because we're airing this out now, so I have the privilege of knowing 2 games. So give me that. Give me the Jets over the Blues in 6. Give me the Avalanche over the Stars in 6. Give me the Golden Knights over the Wild in. I think that game's going to go to That it's going to go to 7 games. Like it's going to be close, but I do think Golden Knights are going to pull it off. And then give me the Kings over the Oilers in 6 again. After that. Winnipeg over and the Avalanche. Give me the Avalanche moving on in 6 games. Golden Knights versus the Kings. Give me the Golden Knights in 7. Golden Knights versus Avalanche. I think I got the Avalanche winning that one. Avalanche in 7. And then I got the Canes versus the Avalanche. Canes in 6.
Fair. I can get behind that.
You see, like
No,
I think I'm as high on the Avalanche as you are the Wild.
and our only difference in the Eastern Conference is the Caps Kane series where I have 4-3, you have 4-2. And that's literally our only difference in the East.
Yeah.
But you and I have talked about this several times. You and I have talked about the East several times.
Yes. Yes.
But no, I get it. I can understand. Like the Vegas is very similar to the Wild, is that they're a really dangerous team that can turn it on. Like once they figure it out, it's like it could be kind of dangerous to play against. So I
Yeah.
definitely understand that line of logic. So anything else you want to touch on NHL wise before we hop over to the
NBA. No, I'm ready to hop into the NBA now. So playing games have been officially set and the playoffs are underway. Grizzlies secure the eighth seed. Golden State Warriors secured the seventh seed in the West. Heat secured the eighth seed. Orlando Magic secured the seventh seed. I would love to see Garrett at his girlfriend's family's house when the Celtics are playing the Magic, because I just know, like, even though Boston won, I know deep down you might have done some Orlando Magic,
Me
Orlando
and her
Magic.
cousins were singing that. Me and her two guy cousins were singing that song during when they started coming back. I looked over at one of them. I went, Orlando Magic. And he got it. He got it. He got it.
No, but um, in recent headlines for the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder have been absolutely dominating the Grizzlies, which was to be expected. But game one, absolutely crazy. I think John Morant said he'll never be beat like that again. Um, I'll give him credit. He did. Technically, game two was a little bit better, but Thunder win game one 131 to 80, and then they win game two 118 to 99. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder have this series like pretty much in the bag. Thunder in four. Um, uh,
Thunder and Four.
Thunder in four. One like series, like jumping back over to the East, that I am a little bit surprised of, but I think they have what it takes to like pull it together. The Milwaukee Bucks, just not a good first two games against the Indiana Pacers. Bucks lost game one 117 to 98, and lost game two 123 to 115. Um, this like series has been pretty tough so far for the Bucks, but I think they have what it takes to like kind of um, bring it back. Giannis Antetokounmpo in game two scoring 34 points, 14 for 20 and field goals. He's been pretty proficient. Just looking at just overall, he's been the stat leader over like in all metrics for the Milwaukee Bucks. Uh, Damian Lillard has been playing also like really big minutes, but just has been pretty efficient, scoring 14 points, but just not like hitting it with the field goals, going 4 for 13 in game two. I think we're going to need to see a bigger step up with Damian Lillard. Obviously, with him, like this is from a while back, but he was like just known as being like very loyal to the Portland Trail Blazers, and him moving to Milwaukee was like I forgot if he was traded or if he no, I think he signed with them in free agency. My bad. But this is like as close as Damian Lillard's going to get to ever like getting a ring right now, and I think he's going to need to step up in games three and four if Milwaukee wants to have a shot at uh, taking down the Pacers. But from the bench, Bobby Portis has been very proficient, shooting 11 for 19 in field goal, 28 points. He's getting starter minutes with 32 minutes uh, in game two. He's been an asset for the Bucks. When it comes to the Pacers, though, Pascal Siakam scoring 24 points in game two, and another proficient scorer has been Tyrese Halliburton, scoring 21 points. Pascal has also been very efficient with getting the rebounds overall. Obviously, for the Bucks, Giannis has been the main guy when it comes to getting rebounds with Bobby Portis. This series is going to be pretty interesting. I see the Bucks posing a comeback now. I know they're down 2-0, but I think they really can get it if they really get their stuff together in Game 3. I could see them chasing the Pacers down, but in other series that I think are worth mentioning. Golden State got a good first win against the Houston Rockets. Steph Curry popped off with 31 points, shooting 12 for 19 on the field. Jimmy Butler had a proficient game, scoring 25 points, also going at shooting 10 for 19. These two have like pretty much been the life and soul of the Golden State Warriors. I really like Jimmy Butler with the Warriors. I feel like they've been starting to hit their stride now with him. And other standouts on the Warriors, we got Brandon Podomski scoring 14 points, shooting 5 for 13, but overall has been pretty proficient. Going for the Houston Rockets, Alsperen Sengun shooting, scoring 29 points in game one, 11 for 18. He's been good for the Rockets, but just looking at this team, like I know Golden State is number 7, but I see the Rockets potentially losing this one to the Warriors, especially if Curry and Butler really hit their playoff primes as they tend to do. So I got Warriors taking this one. Lakers Timberwolves has also been a very interesting one. Timberwolves took game one, which was a little bit of a shock in my opinion. I did not see that one coming, but just looking at the stat sheet, Jaden McDaniels shooting 25 points, Anthony Edwards 22. Jaden McDaniels, very proficient, shooting 11 for 13. He was just automatic. Anthony Edwards, yeah, he had got 22 points, but I was a little disappointed with shooting 8 for 22 on the field. Minnesota was able to take it away in game one, but game two was a different story with Lakers taking that one. That's when I watched this one today, and it was just it was all Lakers in my opinion. Timberwolves tried to make it close, but I'll give this Anthony Edwards shooting better, 10 for 22, 25 points. Julius Randle scoring 27 points. Jaden McDaniels did fall off, though, shooting 3 for 11 on the field. Shooting has just not been consistent for the Timberwolves, and they really need to tighten it up, especially if they're going up against Luka Doncic and LeBron James, who have been absolutely what the Lakers have needed in these two games. LeBron James with 40 minutes, scoring 21 points, shooting 8 for 19 on the field, with Luka Doncic scoring 21 points. Luka 50% almost 50% on the field, shooting 9 for 20 on the field, 2 for 8 and 3, but 11 for 11 on free throws. Uh, Luca is just consistent when he needs to be consistent. Like when it comes to foul time, Luca is just cold as ice, and I feel like that's what LeBron has really needed. Just a teammate that can be very consistent and kind of not let it all fall on LeBron. We can get into conversations about like my opinions on LeBron James when it comes to like GOAT debates and stuff like that. But this is going to be a very important playoff run, especially for his legacy. And I'm excited to see how this one turns out. I got Lakers winning this one. Garris, is there anything you want to highlight right now?
Um, Not really. I haven't watched too many games. I've been trying to be better about it. I saw the first Celtics Magic game. It was kind of a back and forth affair. Eventually, where the Magic was thriving was when the game was kind of in like chaos. The game was up and down in transition. But then once the Celtics were kind of able to settle it down, I think that's going to be the key for the Celtics in their series is they're going to have to be able to settle stuff down if they want a chance of repeating. They're going to have to be able to control and play their style of basketball. I don't know if the Magic like to play in transition a lot, but when you're trying to, when you're a dominant team, and ultimately I know the dominant teams will win regardless of, the flow of the game. But if you really want to increase your chances here, if you're the Celtics, you've got to play your game. You've got to control it. Or just yeah, you just got to control the pace. You got to take good shots. Some of the shot selection on Easter Sunday when I watched the game wasn't great, but all I gotta say is
Orlando Magic.
not even
Orlando
that.
Magic.
Jalen Brown, man down, victory crown, Orlando in 5.
That's
Sorry,
not.
we
That's not.
we like the song.
Yeah, but bringing it back to the West, I did want to highlight the LA Clippers versus Denver Nuggets. These two games have just absolutely been thrillers to watch. Kawhi Leonard in Game 2 absolutely popped off with 39 points, 15 for 19 in on the field. Prime time playoff Kawhi Leonard. Like I love seeing this. This is taking me back to 2019 right now, when he was on Toronto. Um, I really like seeing just the duality between Nikola Jokic and Kawhi Leonard, especially when both of these players are just at the top of their game and being as proficient as they can be. But as it pertains to Denver, game one was an absolute thriller with a win in overtime. Uh, in game one, story of this game, I feel like Kawhi Leonard shooting like very proficiently. James Harden had a absolute solid game. James Harden, when he wants to show up, he can show up. Scoring 32 points, 11 for 22 on the field. Kawhi 19 for 15. Um, there's a lot of like players on this Clippers team that just absolutely like can and will show up when necessary. But surprisingly enough, one player that I do want to highlight in game one with the Denver win, Russell Westbrook. Yeah, he's kind of been like on like for a while now. Like Russell Westbrook like has been like a very big meme. Like he like the fall off he had. Like I like it was sad to see, but like I like seeing him like not being in like a starter role, but having like good minutes and being proficient, scoring points and making good defensive plays. Like Westbrook was just like on lockdown, like doing what he could. He scored 15 points, went 15 for 17 in the field, 2 for 6 in the 3 point. Um, I think Westbrook had a very solid game coming off the bench. Nikola Jokic in game one, scoring 29 points, 12 for 24 on the field. I've said this before, and I've heard it on TikToks and stuff like that. But I like this comparison. Uh, Nikola Jokic plays like basketball the way your dad plays basketball, like in the pool with you, and you're a kid. Like he's just like above everybody, just like getting the like easy 2 points while everyone's just like scratching and uh, like scrapping with you, and like he gets the extra points with the free throws, going 4 for 6. I like his style of play, is kind of nonchalantness of it. This series is going to be really interesting. Like just going off the first two matchups, I go back and forth with what I think will conspire. But like with the Clippers being able to get the win on the road, I'm excited to see how they do with home court advantage. I think I got the Clippers winning this one in seven. Because I think this one's just going to be one of those series that's just going to take a lot out of like both teams. If Harden and Kawhi can play as well as they've been playing in the first two games, and Harden decides to show up, I think they overpower Nikola Jokic, and I got them moving on. Um, Pretty much, if I give my whole prediction of what the West is going to like conspire as I see it right now, I got Thunder in four, Clippers in five, Lakers in six, and Warriors in seven. And then from that, I got Lakers beating the Warriors in six. I got the Thunder beating the Clippers in five. And then I got Thunder versus Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. And I got the Thunder winning that one in seven. So I still have Thunder making their run for the championship. The East, in my opinion, is like an absolute like there's haves and there's have-nots. Cavs took game one against the Heat, and it wasn't necessarily too close, being 121 to 100. I see the Cavs maintaining their dominance, and I see them taking the Heat in five. Still see a chance where the Bucks can pull it off against the Indiana Pacers. They're going to have to get it together, though. I got Bucks in seven, and then Knicks Pistons. We haven't really covered this series as much. Knicks took game one, 123 to 112, and then Pistons took game two, 100 to 94. I got the Knicks winning this one in six. Pistons definitely can put up a good fight, but I don't know. I just think this Knicks team's too solid. Celtics Magic. Unfortunately, Gareth, I do see the Celtics taking this one in. It might be a sweep, man. I'm not gonna lie, but I'll say Celtics in five. Cavs Bucks. I got the Cavs winning that one uh, in six. Knicks Celtics. I got the Celtics winning that one in that could be go to seven series. And then Cavs Celtics. I got the Celtics winning that one in six, which would have me. That would make my finals the Thunder versus the Celtics. I do not see the Celtics repeating. I just think OKC is too consistent, too good. And I got OKC winning that one in six. So that's just my takeaway from the NBA playoffs so far. hope we can do more coverage of it. Um, Anything you want to add, Gareth?
I'll give you my bracket real quick. I've got Cavs in 5 over the Heat. I've got Pacers in 6, winning 4-2 over the Bucks. I think the Bucks will pull 2 games back. Then I think the Pacers are kind of finish out. I've got Knicks in 7 over the Pistons. Little more realistic for me here. I've got Magic in 7. Um, slightly more realistic than Magic in 5. Um, I've got Thunder in 4. I've got the Thunder in 4 over the Grizzlies. I've got Clippers 4-2 over the Nuggets. I've got the Wolves actually in 7 over the Lakers. And
Ooh,
then I've got the Warriors in 7 over the Rockets. Then I've got Warriors in 7 over the Lakers, Clippers in 5, or excuse me, the Thunder in 5 over the Clippers. Then I've got Thunder over the Warriors in 6. Eastern Conference further on, I've got second round, I've got Cavs in 6 over the Pacers, Knicks in 5 over the Magic, and then I've got Cavs 4-2 over the Knicks, and then Thunder in 7 over the Cavs in the finals. So got to throw
all
my
right.
boys the Magic a bone. No, that's all I got for the NBA. Where should we go on to next? Should we hit a little bit of college baseball before we round it out?
Yeah, that sounds good. Hang on. The Alrighty. So Carolina has been pretty like on an absolute roll. They're ranked number 8 in the nation. I saw NC State just made the top 25, so congratulations to that. Um, uh, in uh, this past series, UNC was able to take down Virginia Tech in, hang on, I want to, yeah, they took it 2 games to 1 overall. Game 1 on Friday, UNC won 9-6. In this one, hang on, let me pull up the, God damn it, hang on. Do All righty. So, game 1 of UNC versus Virginia Tech. Starting off the game, UNC was able to get 1 run in the first inning, and then it was pretty silent for the next 2 innings, with Virginia Tech able to getting 1 run in the bottom of the third. UNC then were able to snag 1 run respectively in both the fourth and fifth inning. And the sixth inning, that's when really like things started to get interesting for both uh, uh, the Tar Heels and the Hokies. In uh, With that, UNC was able to get 2 runs. Stokely homered down the line and got Gallagher to score. So was able to get 2 runs off of that. And in the bottom of the sixth, Lutherman was able to homer and get 3 RBI. Leading Virginia Tech to score 3 in that inning. And then from there, it was pretty much all Tar Heels from that. UNC able to get 2 runs in the second and ninth inning, pretty much sealing the game. Jake Knapp remains undefeated as 8-0 when he is pitching. And that kind of leads us into game 2 on Saturday, which this one went to the Hokies. Virginia Tech taking this one 10-6. This one, hang on. Let me scroll back up. This one started off pretty ugly, I'm not going to lie. Bottom of the first, Virginia Tech able to get 5 runs in off of 2 home runs, and no, 3 home runs in total. Rough go for Grant Manning. UNC was able to kind of come back a little bit in the second inning, scoring 3 runs, but then Virginia Tech responded again with 2 runs at the bottom of the second. Hang on, correction. Aiden Haw was pitching for UNC. It was a rough inning, rough first and second inning for him. After that, pretty silent on third and fourth inning. UNC able to get 1 run in the fifth inning, and pretty much the story was just UNC trying to crawl back a little bit from their hole made earlier in the game, but Virginia Tech just able to maintain with a very strong eighth, bottom of the eighth, where they had 2 runs off of a Davis homer, getting 2 RBIs. Good game for Virginia Tech to make it even, but UNC eventually went on in Sunday and took care of business, winning 7-4 in this one. First couple innings, it was pretty nothing much going on until the bottom of the third, where Virginia Tech was able to get 2 runners in. But then the story of the fourth through seventh inning, it was just all Tar Heels. UNC able to score 1, and then 4 in the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh inning. That's when it was all Tar Heels. We got 1 homer off of Jackson Vandy Break in the fifth inning, where he got 1 RBI. And after that, pretty much all scores were just the being able to get runners on base through singles and just plays that were able to get the players moving across the diamond. In this, Jason Dercrow was able to secure the win for the Tar Heels. He is 5-3 as a starting pitcher. And that pretty much sums it up for UNC this week. Their game against Presbyterian was canceled due to rain. And this weekend, they will be going to Pittsburgh. I expect a very big performance from UNC on this one. If not, I'm not gonna lie. I'm expecting a sweep from this one. Tar Heels have been hot. They're 31-9. Pittsburgh, just under 500 with an 18-19 record, 5-3 in the ACC. This is going to be like get right UNC. Like not like they needed to get right before, but like right now, no excuses really. Don't let up. Don't try anything funny. Just keep on maintaining, and you like to keep yourself in the top 10 right now, because it's looking pretty good as we round out the season, and it's getting closer and closer to the end, because the Tar Heels are looking prime for a home series at the playoffs.
Yep. This past weekend, NC State finished up a 3-game series with Cal, in which they swept the series 3-0, winning 9-0, 7-6, and 5-2. Friday game, couldn't really ask for much more. NC State started off the game hot in the top of the second inning, with DeCrisio and Sosa hitting back-to-back home runs. Then DeCrisio proceeding to get absolutely fucking domed in the top of the third by the pitcher after hitting a home run. I think the pitcher is just a whiny bitch. Could have been an accident, but who knows? Um, I know in college it's likely an accident, but that's the joke. Um, throughout that game, State just kind of seemed to be in the driver's seat. Cal did a good job of getting people on base, but they were never really able to drive them in. And then just slowly over the course of the game, State just kept piling it on. 4 total homers in the first game from, like I said, Decrecio and Sosa. Josh Hogue and then Chris McHugh also had a home run. Like I said, Cal left load stranded. Fritton, now 5-3 on the year. He went 6 innings, 6 Ks, 2 walks, 6 hits. Schaffner came in. Schaffner is usually middle relief or just relief. Schaffner got his first save of the season despite not being a closer. 2 Ks, 3 innings pitched, 1 hit total. Then we move on to Saturday. Saturday was not a great start. So for NC State, what's his name? Heath Andrews started the game for State, pitching, but this is the second Saturday game in a row where Heath Andrews kind of had a meltdown in the 4th inning, and he let up 5 runs for Cal. A lot of them just came off of these little, as what, baseball personality Trevor Bauer would say, just these bloop singles, like bringing in people. And then obviously Burge had a 3-run shot, bringing in 3 people, finish out that inning. Then from there, Heath Andrews was benched, and then NC State brought in freshman relief pitcher Anderson Nance. And Anderson Nance, because he actually pitched more innings than Heath Andrews, got credited for the win here. But back to the game, NC State obviously was down 6-0, and then NC State proceeded to score 6 runs in the following inning off of 6 RBI singles in the same inning. Then finally, 7th inning would roll around. Braden Fraseman would homer in the 7th, and that would be that. Anderson Nance would be absolutely dominant and clean up. Anderson Nance threw 5 innings, 7 strikeouts, 1 walked batter, and no hits. So very, very, very dominant in relief there. That brings us to Sunday. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't get much of a chance to watch this game on Sunday. I watched the first couple innings. State started off strong. Cal and State traded runs to start off the day. Then NC State just kind of took off. Second inning, we got a few runners on, put in 2 runs. And then in the 8th inning, both Cal and State scored 2, Cal scored 1. Ryan Marone getting another big win. Jacob Duden getting a good save. That was good. I honestly agree with this. We didn't need to bring in Duden, but Jacob Duden, he's one of the best closers in the nation. Came into the season rated as one of the highest closers. I think it's important just to keep him, I don't want to say in shape, but it's important to keep him throwing even when we don't need it, just to keep him sharp. Because that was one question I was going to raise on the podcast last week to Aiden, where, like, even if it's like a series with like Cal and you're going to sweep it, do you just bring in your main closer guy just to keep him in shape, pitch a few innings, just,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think
just
that's
cat
smart.
turtle?
Yeah. I mean, as long as you're not overworking anyone, I think it's a good idea to get everyone some reps.
Yeah, Duden, he came in for an inning. So he came in for an inning. Yeah, so Marone pitched most of the game. He pitched 7 2/3 innings. He had 4 hits, gave up 1 earned run, had 9 strikeouts and no walks. Jacob Duden came in, had 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, and that was it. He pitched for an inning and a third. Just, kind of keeping him warm. One thing I will say is Cal's a good baseball team. Like, the offense is there. I think where they struggle is their pitching staff and their bullpen. Because as much as I can sit here and, say, Keith Andrews can't have the breakdown he has in the 4th inning he's had the past couple times, or Dominic Fritton can't have a breakdown in the 6th inning. The Cal pitching staff, and I'm not saying they're bad players and they're not good at what they do. this could have just been this series, but a lot of them did seem to be pretty ineffective. They had decent trouble finding the strike zone. That could also have just been that they were trying to pitch around our batters. NC State's one of the, when it comes to hitting, is one of the most successful teams when it comes to home runs. Particularly people with Decrecio and Sosa. They literally called Decrecio Mr. Extra Bases. So it could have just been that they were trying to pitch around those guys and ended up walking them a bunch. So NC State this weekend plays host to number 2 Clemson. This is a big series for us. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series again. Obviously, like Aiden said, a lot of the midweek games were canceled, so State did not get the opportunity to play East Carolina today for a little warm up. But this is a big series. Our guys are gonna have to be on our game. This isn't a Louisville team whose pitching staff is kind of shaky, and we can get by just unearned runs. These guys are going to have to be good. Dom Fritton's going to have to be on his game, which Dom Fritton was on Friday of last on the Thursday game last week. He's going to have to be on his game. Keith Andrews cannot have a meltdown mid-game. These guys are going to have to be perfect. The offense is going to have to show up. I know NC State has a habit after going on like a 10, 11 game win streak, the offense just decides to not show up for 2 or 3 games. We can't. While losing this series to Clemson would by no means knock us out of the postseason, like we're a regional 2 seed and we're in the top 25. But if we want to build on this momentum and sneak into the top 16 and host at least a first round game, this is a series we're going to have to take. I've got State winning 2-1, and I think a 2-1 series win would be enough to get us high enough up where we could, control our own destiny when it comes to it. But if we really want to guarantee that we have home field advantage for at least a normal regional, I think we need to sweep here. But honestly, I think, like I said, 2-1 will do it. I think we'll likely take Friday and Sunday. I don't think we'll win, or excuse me, I think we'll take Thursday and Saturday. I just from what I've seen from our second day squad, I don't think it's going to be able to get it done. But who knows? They could figure it out. Who knows? They could just be getting the jitters out. Who knows? I could just be hating. And I'm not trying to say they're bad. I'm just saying our second day squad's a little younger. And that's not to say Anderson Nance and Heath Andrews aren't great pitchers, because they are. Anderson Nance had an amazing 5 innings in relief, like phenomenal through a no hitter. And I know being a pitcher is pretty hard and it's a lot of mental, but for this weekend to go well, we need one of the two, Dom Fritton or Heath Andrews, they're gonna have to keep it under wrap. And they're both capable of it because I've seen it in high stress games. I've seen them be able to keep it under wraps. But Heath Andrews cannot have a game like he had against Louisville. Fritton cannot have a game like he had against Louisville, because we will not get bailed out against Clemson. They're a stingy defense. They do not give up many runs. So the key here is I think we need to jump on them Thursday. We need to lay it on. I'm not necessarily saying use up all the bats. I'm not saying like 17-1 them and use up all the bats for the weekend. But I'm saying we need to, win by 3, 4, or 5 on Friday to feel good about going into Saturday. Ideally, or going into Friday. Ideally, it would be nice to take a 2-0 lead so we don't have to worry about Sunday. And we usually play pretty good at home. But I think, like I said, NC State's going to win this series 2-1. And moving into next week, I think that'll put us in a good position for our midweek game. And then I think that's our Carolina series that weekend, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So
I do not. I think you're not mistaken. But in recent news, for the top 25, Texas remains at number 1. Clemson is at number 2 after a 2-1 series win over Louisville. Oregon State, I believe they swept Cal State Northridge. Florida State is at number 4. They had their series against UVA postponed in light of the tragedy that inspired at FSU this past week. Condolences to all those who lost loved ones, and it was very serious tragedy. And Florida State did later on this week won their midweek game against, if I am not
The
mistaken,
Stetson hats.
yep, the Stetson hats. Um, and with Arkansas at 5, we have Tennessee at 6, LSU at 7, UNC at 8, as I mentioned before, Vandy at 9, and Georgia at 10. Recent additions to the top 25. NC State cracks the top 25, and that is the first team. Well, that is the only team to have entered the top 25 this week. I believe TCU dropped out and NC State took their place. But yeah, that's pretty much a brief outlook on the top 10 of college baseball. Still a lot of interesting teams out there. I'm going to be, over the next couple of weeks, I think I might be keeping my eye on Troy. They're 29 and 12, 12 and 6 in the Sun Belt. They're at the head of the Sun Belt. And I like keeping eyes on some of the like more obscure teams. Another team in the Sun Belt is Southern Miss. They are at 27 and 13, tied with Troy, I believe, at 12 and 6 in the Sun Belt. So yeah, that kind of sums up everything I have to say for baseball right now.
Same here. I think that'll do it for us today. Thank you guys for listening in. Talk to you next week. We should have some shorts and more clips coming out for this episode. Um, Hopefully, we'll get this episode out before Thursday, just so we can have everything out for the draft and out in time, just so we can have as much of the NHL covered as we can and just other stuff.
Hmm.
So we will see you all next week, where we will probably cover, draft reactions, recap, thoughts, overreactions, who's getting fired, over draft picks, um, college baseball results, obviously NHL playoffs, probably NBA playoffs, just kind of everything. We're getting into a fun part of the year. Not that March Madness. March Madness is one of the most fun parts. But we're getting into a fun part of the sports season. We're getting into the playoffs. We're talking about playoffs.
Hmm.
So, thank you for listening in. Next week.